Good morning. Thank you for being here today for our Sunday service. Thank you. Just recently, I had the opportunity to go to the movies. we haven't been to the movies in a really long time. And so Quicken and I, we went to see the movies and we watched Hoppers. Anybody saw Hoppers yet? No? It's such a cute movie. It's a Pixar. And it was, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm just going to say one little phrase that it made my heart feel so good. The quote that I really loved in that movie was, "It's hard to be mad when you feel like you're part of something big. It's hard to be mad when you feel like you're part of something big." And sometimes at work I feel really overwhelmed, like just the workload is just like a mountain all at once. Like I get orders from 5 doctors for 5 of my different patients, like all at once, and sometimes that kind of thing happens and I just feel overwhelmed and like so stressed out. And what I do is we have a little lanai area at the end of the hallway, and I like to go out, get some fresh air. I don't want to be staying like 12 hours in the facility in the cold air conditioning. I need some fresh air. I need to look at nature, and I can see the beautiful valleys, the Windward Side Valley in the back of the hospital. And nice cool breeze comes in and it just cleanses me. And I just feel so, the stress, it just goes down. And I take a deep breath several times. And I give my thoughts to the valleys, to nature. I was like, I'm feeling really stressed right now. I'm feeling really overwhelmed, but I need to take this moment to just remember that I'm a really small part of nature. I'm a really small part of this nature. And surrounding me is coming some blessings, people's care, people's support. And even though it's difficult sometimes, I need to just step out into nature. And when I do, it feels like coming surrounds me with love and just reminds me that, hey, I really am part of something really big. And I'm really more reminded of that when I'm in the airplane, looking down at the town. All these houses, even though they're mansions with pools, you can see. But from the airplane, it looks like a small little seed and a little blue speck, which is the pool. And like, I'm looking down at the town and I'm thinking, wow, there are some families that are probably having a good time eating dinner. And I know there are probably some of them that are having arguments, having some troubles. But from here, it all seems very small. Our problems seem very small from up here. And maybe Kami-sama, from up here, Kami-sama can see the bigger picture. And although life may be difficult, if we can again go back into nature, go back into realizing that we are supported by something big, by Kami-sama, our stress will feel relieved somehow, someday. Okay? So, anyways, for your presence here today, for being here, I want to say omedetou gozaimasu. Omedetou gozaimasu, congratulations. When I was at the Konko Church of Amagi, Oya Sensei, the head minister, would greet us, not with good morning, ohayo gozaimasu. He didn't say ohayo gozaimasu. He said, omedetou gozaimasu. And when I was there, it felt kind of weird in the beginning. I didn't realize I was only 18 years old, and it just felt weird because omedetou gozaimasu is usually reserved for special occasions, like birthdays, anniversaries. But we said it on a daily basis. And yesterday, I had an opportunity to give a workshop at the Hawaii Buddhist Women's Association conference. It was held yesterday at Ala Moana Hotel. And it was a 2-day function. I'm supposed to be there today actually, but today I'm not sharing anything. I was just going to attend, just hear some panel discussions, but I thought, no, I should be here. The blessings started here, so I need to be here. And so I am here. And yesterday I delivered a 1-hour workshop the title Healing Through Gratitude, Living with Appreciation. And I was told by a really good friend, Mrs. Caroline Uchiyama. She's like our childhood friend. But she was like, can you deliver a workshop for our Buddhist conference? And she said that, she told me 2 years ago. From 2 years ago, I've been preparing for this conference. And the day finally came yesterday, and it was just surreal. Like, wow, this day is actually here. And originally, I was supposed to do the workshop, this 1-hour workshop once. And there are 6 workshops that the participants could sign up. I think there are 200 attendees at yesterday's function, really full. And because my workshop had the greatest number of signups, just 2 weeks before the conference, she called me and says, can you do your workshop twice? I was like, what? Because it's like, in my mind, I'm like prepared to do just one time. Okay, just one time and it's done. It's good. But she said twice, back to back. And it was like, my stress level was like, whoosh, it was like through the roof. And like really, I'm a really nervous type. I get very anxious. I thought that was some kind of like a childhood thing, but that anxiety carried on even in my adulthood, even right now. So yesterday, before my session, like really like a couple minutes before my session, my heart began pounding. And it wasn't that anxiety pound, it was like a SVT, which is called a supraventricular tachycardia. And it's basically triggered by an adrenaline rush. But before that never used to happen. Only last year I realized that this is happening. I was like, oh no, another SVT is happening right now. I was like, I'm gonna like perform like right now. I was like, oh my goodness. And when that happens, my heart beats about 150 beats a minute. And it almost feels like 200 beats a minute. I was like, I did all that, like taking a deep breath, chugging down a lot of water, squatting. They say that it helps reverse the SVT because it's all a vasovagal response. It's like a nerve response then. But that wasn't working, and usually it does. Usually it lasts a few seconds, like, okay, I squat and, okay, my rhythm is back to normal again. But yesterday it kept going and going. I was like, oh no, and Okasa was like, Goshimai Ryoka? Goshimai. I said, okay, please, Goshimai. So my mom took out her 6 Konko-sama's Goshimai, special one from Go Home Food. And her hands are shaking. I said, Okasa, can you please hurry to the, I have to like, go there now on the stage. And Okasa said, okay. I said, drink water, Konko-sama, onegaishimasu. And I went on the stage. And I could still feel my heart like pounding through my chest. And through the whole hour, it was pounding. I'm so glad I didn't pass out. And right after that one, the first session, I had to give the second session. But really amazingly, after that first session was over, my heart returned to normal. And in that second session, I was so relaxed and zero nervousness, zero anxiety. And I think the second session was way better than the first one. And I was like, oh, yokatta. Konko-sama no kage, Goshimai no kage, Ogasa no kage, Clayton no kage. And they were both there to help me pass out some things. And I always have my mom come along with these conferences because she's like my critique. Anything I need to improve on, she'll just tell it to me like it is, and I can improve. So I talked about the omedetou gozaimasu yesterday in my talk, and it's so funny because during our breaks, I hear people just conversing, like behind me or in front of me, and I heard them saying omedetou to each other, and I thought that was so cute. They're like practicing what they just learned. And I also handed out bathroom prayers. If you look in our church bathroom, we have a bathroom card, and I made a Buddhist version. So instead of Ikem Konkorai no Tinshi Kami-sama Arigatou gozaimasu, it says Namo Amida Butsu. I had clicked and passed it out to the attendees of my workshop, and they were so happy. Some people wanted a couple more. And I'm so glad that people received my message and they were happy. And several people approached me and And they said, wow, this is something we can begin using like immediately. And 本当に良かったなと思って、really glad. I just want to share one story that I shared yesterday. This was my script really, but I shared several miracles, I guess, of saying gratitude, arigato gozaimasu, and people healing, pain relieving. And I want to share Fusami Kudo's story. Fusami Kudo she's not Konko, but she pretty much practices exactly what we practice in Konko. And I think it was back in 2014, around 2014 or 15. She came to Hawaii actually to do a talk at the Honolulu church because she had stage 4 uterine cancer and was given a prognosis of only 1 month to live. And then she received that miracle of complete remission. So I want to share Fusami Kudo's story. Good morning. So in 2006, Fusami was taken to the hospital because she collapsed at work and she was only in her 40s. Already on initial examination by the gynecologist, the doctor suddenly, but this is in Japan now, the gynecologist suddenly slapped her on the thigh while she was on the exam table and bluntly told her, "You have cancer. Why did you let it get this far?" And she said, rather than the shock of learning that she had cancer, the shock of being slapped by that doctor on her thigh was greater. And it's like she didn't hear anything else. She was just shocked by that slap on the thigh. Can you imagine if this happened in America? It'll go on the news. That doctor would be sued, he'd be fired. It's just like, it's insane how that he could do that in Japan. Just slap their patients and blame them. So she was diagnosed with advanced uterine cancer. The doctors initially planned the surgery, but when they opened her up, they discovered that her tumor was too large to extract. And the surgeon actually nicked a little vessel, and it began to bleed. And the doctor said, we cannot remove the tumor, but we can do 30 sessions of radiation, followed by a very, he didn't say this part, torturous radiation treatment. It's a form of internal radiation called RALS. RALS is remote after-loading system. And for the initial RALS treatment, you can Google what RALS is. It looks very torturous, crazy. For uterine cancer brachytherapy. So for the initial RALS treatment, Mrs. Kudo, she was being wheeled down to the basement where the RALS treatment took place in the hospital. And while she was being wheeled down via gurney, the nurse had a towel in her hand and said, "You forgot this!" And she was like, "What are you talking about? Because I have a towel around my neck," because it was a really hot day. And she's like, "No, it's not because of that. It's to gag you. It's to gag you." And Mrs. Kudo, she did not understand the rationale. And so the instant she heard that, she froze in fear. And she was like, "What the heck is this nurse talking about? What are they going to do for me? What are they going to do to me?" So I guess back in those days, almost 20 years ago, the RALS radiation treatment was torturously painful because they did not sedate you. They didn't give you any pain medication, no sedative, nothing. So she was restrained to the table with a towel in her mouth so she couldn't scream. That treatment lasted 3 hours because they had to situate the machine within her for an hour. That took an hour because there's so many pieces, I guess, and components. And the treatment took an hour. And another hour just to take it all down. After the first treatment, she was completely traumatized. She cried all night and blamed herself, saying, "Why did I get cancer? This is not treatment, this is torture." She still had 2 more treatments left of this RALS. 2 more. And she just couldn't see the future anymore. She felt really hopeless. But then the turning point came for her. The night before her second treatment of rounds, a teacher from her son's school mailed her a book. And the book was written by Dr. Kazuo Murakami, who was a famous genetic scientist in Japan and an emeritus at the Tsukuba University. And it's also written in English, so I bought a copy online on Amazon. I totally recommend this book. It's called The Divine Code of Life. And the book explains something really fascinating, and that's what really motivated her. It said the human body contains about 60 trillion cells. Pretty much 1 trillion cells for each kilogram of body weight is what Dr. Murakami said. Inside those cells is our DNA, but scientists believe that only 5% of the 95% are active and 95% are dormant. So when she read that, something shifted in her, and she thought, hey, maybe if I could even activate a little bit more of her DNA, her genes, the 95% that are dormant, maybe she can heal. Another thing that really touched her was that it mentioned that being born as a human is a 1 in trillion and 1 in a 7 trillion miracle. So, every single one of you is born in a 1 in 70 trillion miracle. So after she read that, she felt like she had an outer body experience where she was looking down on the earth and she saw little specks of light surrounding the whole earth, and it was all humans. And each one of those specks seemed so precious to her. And that night she began thanking her body and everything she could think of. And she said, thank you to my cells. Thank you to my genes. Ganbatte ne. Please, we can do this. Please. So the gratitude in the middle of her crisis. From that day forward, she started living differently. She began thanking everything. Her cells, her body, the people in her lives, and even the strands of hair that fell out during chemotherapy. And even like her husband's hair and her son's hair that were on the bathroom floor, she picked them up, she gathered them, counted each one. She counted 100,000 strands of hair, and for each strand she said, arigatou gozaimasu, arigatou gozaimasu. And she said the more that she began saying arigatou gozaimasu, at first it was like she felt kind of forced, and it didn't seem natural. But the more she began saying it, she felt like a snowflake of gratitude came on top of her. And one night at 3 o'clock a.m., she was sitting on the bathroom floor, counting the strands of hair, saying thank you, while crying in gratitude. Her teenage son, who was a junior in high school, saw mommy on the floor, crying, counting the hair. And he said something really surprising. He said, Mom, enjoy this special moment. Enjoy this special moment. She was shocked. The moment changed her perspective. And instead of living in fear of cancer, she began living with gratitude for being alive. And then she started to do things she had never done before. Like her son, he saved his money. This high school son saved his money to buy his mom a wig because she lost all her hair. And it was a blonde colored wig. She first thought, what? This is too bright. I could never wear this blonde wig. Because this is Japan. Everyone's about conformity, right? But she's like, oh, whatever. Heck with that. And she wore the wig. She went out, went shopping, did the things she loved. She laughed more. She felt lighter. She felt grateful for every single day that she was alive. And then the miracle came. Several months later, she returned to the hospital for tests, and the doctors thought that her condition had progressed. But they were stunned to see that her uterus was completely clear of cancer. Completely clear. However, other scans in her body showed something worse. She had metastasized to her lungs and liver. So her lungs, she said it looked like polka dots, beautiful polka dots all over her lungs. And doctors gave her less than a month to live after that. Yet within months, something extraordinary happened, where the tumors in her lungs and also liver also disappeared as she continued her gratitude in her life. Not even caring what's going to happen, she continued her gratitude. She didn't lose hope. And her doctors called it a medical miracle. Her realization was Mrs. Kudo believed that when she changed her heart, her body responded. She began thanking her cells, thanking her life, thanking the existence that gave her life. She called it something big. People call it God, people call it Kami-sama, people call it Amida Buddha. She later said something very powerful. My cancer cells were not my enemies. They were messengers telling me to love myself. That's so powerful. She came to see her illness not as a punishment, but as a wake-up call to live with more gratitude. And before her night of the second round of treatment, she mentioned, she prayed to her cells. She said, "Dear cancer cells, I sincerely love you. You do not have to disappear. You can stay where you are. I do not care if I should die. And I apologize that if you have to put up with me all these years and the pain from the treatment, I apologize." Right at the important part, come on now. Thank you again so much for your support. I love you. Fusami Kudo says, "I love you" to her cancer cells. That's insane. I've never heard anyone do that, ever. We see commercials that say, "Stand up to cancer." I think you've seen that before, stand up to cancer. But Mrs. Kudo, she was more like, stand up for cancer. Her mentality was, I'm here for you. I got your back. I work on a cancer unit, and I had seen t-shirts, stickers on the water bottles, bumper stickers, and even tattoos. I even seen this tattoo on it, around an ostomy. Do you know what it said? I think you know what it said, but it said, "F you, cancer." F you, cancer. People have to realize that cancer cells are their own cells that just got a little rebellious. They're like fearless teenagers and the wild 20-year-olds. They're the ronin, the outcasts, the unloved. And that's how I explain cancer to patients. But if we're like the Oda Nobunaga, where if the bird doesn't sing, kill it. Or if the mango tree doesn't bear fruit, chop it down. There's no room for healing. No understanding the root cause. Now, what does a good parent do for a rebellious teenager? They listen. They try to understand. They reflect on their own parenting and try to figure out a way where both parent and child can be safe. But a not so good parent would give severe punishment without any explanation, or even kick them out of the house, harm them, abuse them. But that does not get rid of the problem. They just take that problem elsewhere and they cause trouble elsewhere. The more we hate something, the greater the hate's going to grow. What we feed is going to grow. And cancer, I think, is the same. The more we hate it, the more we're hating ourselves, actually. So F you, cancer, means you are effing yourself. Mrs. Kudo treated her cancer cells like her own beloved children. She thanked it. She apologized, but she still loved them. She even told her cancer cells that they could stay right there, not caring if she was going to die. It's mind-blowing, yeah? But I can imagine with that level of kindness, compassion, even her cancer cells were thrown off, right? And the cells with cancer was like, what? You still love us? Even if we cause this much trouble? And they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to be good from now on. Maybe. And maybe that energy is going to change. I think that's what happened. So she was basically valuing and appreciating her body. And even her cancer cells. And people usually, they don't like cancer. They want to kill it, they want to burn it, and they want to poison it through chemotherapy. And I'm not telling you, like, okay, don't take radiation or don't do chemotherapy. I'm not telling you to do that. That you have to listen to your own heart. But I'm just saying, in Mrs. Fusami Kudo's case, that is what she did, and she received a divine blessing. So, again, yesterday, my talk was on healing through gratitude and living with appreciation. So, but again, it reminded me that we are surrounded by so much support, and we have to take the time to identify it. And in the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, it's hard to be thankful. So it's a good time to go out into nature, go to the beach, look at the wide ocean, go into the mountains, immerse yourself in nature, and hear the birds singing, the rustle of the wind blowing through the trees, and just take into mind that we are one part of something great, and appreciate it. Thank you. ありがとうございました。
Thank you for attending our space. When I listened to our speech, I remember one message from Kyoto story by number 2. I just want to introduce. When I asked for an amulet, Konko-sama replied, "There are no amulet. People make amulets, they are objects of worship, but amulets don't give divine blessings. To Kami-sama, though Kami-sama can be seen, it is all around you. You are walking within it right through him. And still I will give you this Kushima. So when praying, you can even present your request to Allah. 神の中を分けて通りなので、when I listen to speak, it's really very interesting. Actually, she introduced Fusami Kudo. Actually, we asked her and her company to stay over here after his house presentation. And she said, many people come to see their own progress. But she found out those people find answers for this by themselves, for themselves. They will know what should be done before she asks. So it's really interesting. And one more thing. Yesterday I had attended Minister's Zoom session. Reverend Tomohiro Yagi from Konko Church of Ayabe in Kyoto was the guest speaker. He was a total stranger to the practice of Konko, the family involved in tradition of Buddhist tradition. He was active civil city council of Ayabe City. The reason he became Konko minister was initiated by his marriage to Ayako, who happened to be the daughter of Konko minister. Ayako Sensei helped with the election campaign for Tomohiro. That is the encounter for marriage. After marriage, she lived with Shirai family or Tomohiro for several years and moved to live with the family of Yagi later on. Then he became Konko minister because of the relationship. Reverend Seiko Konko was a classmate of the Konko Gakuin Seminary, and Ayako Sensei was also one of the classmates of Reverend Koichi Konko and Gakuin Seminary. He learned about the practice Konko office by casual talking with daily meals in evening while sipping some beer with Uwa Sensei. His name is Mishima Yagi, a father-in-law. So daily for hours, usually 1 or 2 hours. And for Tomohiro Sensei could not understand a message forwarded by the minister. Gradually pointed out daily way of life, such as you have to correct your posture, place your shoes in the right place, in the right manner, and so forth. The very basic way of living to become maybe to be it says that ningen inasu. The sensei emphasized the manner of revering the founder. In Japanese, it said, Konko sama wo itadaku. The very Japanese expression. That could be one of the central messages given to Tomohiro Sensei. Gradually, Tomohiro Sensei evolved to be a minister. But one day, the head minister, Mishimasa Sensei, casually said, from tomorrow, you'll become the head minister. As I listened to his presentation, the father-in-law was quite good at education Tomohiro Sensei to become Konko minister to improve his faith in Kami-sama. During the meeting, the theme of Sasete Itadaku showed up. Sasete Itadaku is a common expression in Konko based community. Actually, at the Amagi Church, initial first lesson is this message, Sasete Itadaku. Wasn't say what nobody used it. Tsurujanai Sasete Itadaku means in business, we can add. Actually, the fourth Konko you talk about this message of Sasete Sewanina. When we wake up in the morning, we wash our face. We need water, towel, soap, and any other elements help just to the act of washing. So to every element is it arigatou gozaimashita, arigatou gozaimashita, arigatou gozaimashita. This is the way how we say to live Sasete Itadaku. Konko sama say sewa ni. This is the message I want to say. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimashita. One more message, very important. Actually, the wife of the sensei, Tomohiro Sensei, I showed up at the later part of the session. It's very stable and broken. Maybe that's good. That her character made him to evolve Konko minister. Yeah, that's what I want to say. Thank you. Gyari Konko Gozaimasu Kinchi Kani no Kami Shinji Bhagavad Gita Kokoro ni Ari Kunno Kyonchi de Kani Praise
Look to Kami always.
Number what? Page 103. Number. Sorry. Number 9.
Go ahead. Cai thẳng. Còn đây mày, nha mày. Yếu cả thẳng. There you go. Take it.
Number 9? Okay, number 9. The founder always imparted in a revelation, Kami does not request people for anything. People should request Kami for everything. He will save.
Then, once the founder told a believer, you have an altar set up in a corner of the dirt floor room. You think this will bring divine blessing? Hi. 11 in 1878 and 1879, when I was 23 or 24, I thought that unless I was single, I wouldn't be able to dedicate myself to saving people. When I told the founder this, he imparted, this faith dislikes families that die after one generation. My way of faith promotes and protects the prosperity of your family and descendants.
Told in a revelation, the founder explained about the laws of the universe that was beyond Kami's control. Because Kami is the parent, he permits man to do things. But what if man is not permitted? But if what a man does is not permitted by the laws of the universe, what can he do? He also once explained, when something isn't permitted by the laws of the universe, then there's nothing Kami can do.
13. I told the founder the printed amulets that I've been giving to believers since 1880. The Ikigami gave prayers and spoke in the revelation. Quote, the faith I am spreading does not give out amulets. Don't imitate the shrines and temples.
14. The founder's wish was to have each believer's house become a shrine or a hill. The 22nd of each month will be a service day all over Japan. And each house will come to put up a paper lantern.
16. When a believer builds a new house, he should first think about where to put Kami's altar. Then decide the arrangement of the alcove and rooms.
Don't push people to receive divine blessing.
Did you read it? Nicho yondenayo.
1880 or 1881, the founder said, I began performing towards you at a mature age, but in your case, you're young, so you may run into many problems.